You're listening to Tax Savvy, the art and science of keeping more money in your pocket. Each episode, we uncover specialty tax strategies, share expert advice, and talk through practical insights businesses use to stay ahead. Whether you're here to learn more about specialty tax or just want to make smarter money moves, you're in the right place.
Welcome to Tax Savvy. I'm Craig Fouts, and today we're joined by Owen Pryor, who leads a tax and accounting practice within Owens May Advisory, a firm with a legacy of serving families, business owners, and entrepreneurs with a true family office approach. Owens May has built a reputation on white glove service, with proactive planning and integrating tax and accounting all under one roof. We're excited to talk about how Owens May continues to evolve, the work Owen is leading inside the firm, and how we collaborate with them. Owen, thanks for being on the podcast.
Dude, you're certainly welcome. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, man. We always just love to have interesting guests on, love to hear their stories about their businesses, and in some way show value of, maybe the different approach that you guys do treating clients. And we'll get into that in a little bit, but, glad we can meet up and get this done today.
No, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, start things off. If you can, tell us a little bit about your journey, how you ended up maybe at Owens May, and, we'll go from there.
Sure. So I've been in the financial services industry since about 2006. Got my start in banking through college and then switched over into public accounting in 2008, and have seen a lot of different ways to run a firm, how the processes should go from anywhere from small mom and pop CPA firms all the way to a top 10 firm as far as a local firm here. And I've really tried to take that experience and along with my partner, Steve Blake, pull apart what a traditional CPA firm is and put it back together in a more unique way. We often like to think about, these CPA firms nowadays are like the Titanic. They can see the iceberg, and now we're a little speedboat kind of running circles around them based on our flexibility and the agile way in which we're leveraging, hires, we're leveraging technology. That's really where we are right now. And we've had a really good response in the market here recently.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we met, both of our firms were in a similar position, I guess you could say. We're both getting our feet wet, really building the foundations of our businesses. And I'm really glad we have the same approach to client service, of the white glove approach, so to speak. And it's amazing to hear that you guys are having a really positive reception from your client base. If you can, tell me about a little bit how you guys have structured your firm to basically be able to have you and Steve go out and provide that advisory type role in white glove service to your guys' clients.
Yeah. So we've done, through that process of pulling apart what a CPA firm does, we've identified what we call just a barriers to communication with our clients, and providing the white glove service, really sets our clients up to feel like we want them to communicate. So we do this in a number of ways. We do have collaborative hires that help take things off of our plate. And then we also leverage technology. And then we also don't track our time. So a traditional CPA firm, you call them and they're penciling in, 0.25 and then sending a client a bill. Traditional firm, like a partner, a director, they're going to spend a calendar week every single month doing what I would consider not a value add service, which is spending time billing, tracking budgets. And that's not at all a value add in the client's perspective.
Sure.
So the way we do it is we approach each client within a unique a la carte service offering. We identify a couple different tiers to allow them some flexibility, and then they can pick from a menu of our services that best fits their needs, if they're a business or if they're a family. Sure. And the way that we've really understood is we're harvesting our time with some of the steps we're saving and then pouring that back into our clients.
Nice. Yeah. With the technology and process standpoint, how has been the investment there? Have you guys been able to streamline a lot of the standard things that might be called time wasters? What have you guys been able to do to invest there? Like, what's been some significant things you've been able to handle? The no billable hour thing is amazing. Our firm doesn't do it either. And, what I've always found is, number one, people will just create billable hours because they have these minimum goals to hit and maybe not always be correct.
I know we've never done that, right?
Never. And, number two is, I've always loved the more task approach, doing what needs to get done for the client to ensure they have that fantastic level of service. So is that how you guys are approaching just maybe with your staff and your team of, hey, you have this a la carte service or array of services. Here's what needs to get done for each of these. Let's go get it done and make sure we're communicating throughout the year. Is that kind of the approach what you guys are thinking?
Yeah. So essentially what we use, we have a software that we found out in the market. We spent months researching, interviewing, going through all of the nuts and bolts and service lines. And we've picked one and we've rolled that out to our client base and had just a great response. It's easy to use. There's a mobile app. That's been key. Yeah. So I've had clients go to charity events and they win a silent auction and they're taking a picture and uploading that so they don't have to worry about it again.
Nice.
So the ease of use, leveraging technology. And then again, some of our collaborative hires, they can actually run point if they have a question about a process, a deliverable, or the mobile app. We have point of contacts for people and it's not just bottlenecked with one advisor or one professional.
Sure.
So that's really the key there. Is to make sure that there's not a bottleneck happening, and then understanding that true value is getting to know the clients. Yeah. So we've had so many countless wins here when we're having a conversation and just catching up, and we come to find out that there was a family member that was about to sell a property, and they were in their 90s, and we said, "Hang on, let's chat through this. Do you guys have an estate planning attorney?" And then we actually walked them through a better way to handle this transaction and save them multiple six figures in taxes, because there was no reason to sell before, that person, needed to give his decedents a step up in basis through an estate.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Well, cool. That's exactly the type of advisory and things that are huge wins. And if you're bogged down just by the compliance work, trying with the bottlenecks, would that have been found? Probably not, right?
No. And I've brought you on several cases. We picked up a new client that they were doing their own taxes. And this is like so traditional for someone, they're TurboTax warrior. And they were running some rental properties and they didn't realize that they could depreciate their property. So brought you in, we had a quick call and you had a very quick turnaround on this. These are their best options moving forward. Same thing with the research and development, where we put you into contact with several of our other clients. And the reason I bring this up is kind of pigeonholing back to, to you guys. You've been such a great resource for our firm to not have to slow down and try to wear all the hats of the specialties like the R&D, the research and development. So, and especially with the changes with the new tax law, I'm sure that's opened up a ton of doors for you. And I know you've been impactful with our clients as well.
Well, I appreciate that. And it's been really great to get to know them. And, we've had a lot of great opportunity too, just where people had no idea the credits or the, accelerated depreciation deductions could even exist or help them.
Right.
And you nailed it. It's a lot of people who've never, either haven't filed their returns or tried to file their returns themselves, and they just miss out on those opportunities. So the investment in a great advisor is there. You just got to get people to understand it. And I guess we can take that and maybe pivot to a conversation. Something I've been asking you.
Sure.
So, as your evolution, starting in banking, going through public accounting, working for big and small firms, what have you been noticing from clients that maybe shifted over the last few years in terms of needs and wants from an advisor? So it's, I can maybe go back to Owens May is such a unique model with, you have the advisory side with the CPA services and tax work, right? But then you also have the wealth management on the other side. And it's almost like a one-stop shop. Is that what you guys are starting to see more with what clients want, or just have a great one big team to handle everything? Or, tell us a little bit what you're thinking.
Sure. Yeah. So I think the best way to explain it would be an example, real world example. So when we were brought on with Owens May Wealth, we co-branded for a reason. We really, once we got to know the team at Owens May, it just resounded with what we want to bring to the market, and we want to do it in a unique way. And their clients, from what I've seen at the Wealth Office, they truly care about those clients, and the clients truly care about the team at Owens May Wealth. Yeah. So we wanted to mirror that and to have a seamless transition. When they go to the Wealth Office, they get that same high level of service. And we've been able to kind of copy and paste that deliverable to not only Owens May Wealth clients, but to clients, that are even not related.
Sure.
And we have other referral partners that, have their own firms, and we stay in our lane and make sure they look like rock stars for the referrals. But one of the clients that we've onboarded through Owens May Wealth, they were working with a national firm. And that national firm was charging a very high fee, delivering that return at the last second, right before a due date, no communication. And it was absolutely debilitating to this client. That this person likes to travel. They're not thinking about, a tax brain like we do. We're always thinking about things. Right. So it was just such an inconvenience. So when we were introduced, we said, not only can we do X, Y, and Z, we're gonna align those payments to be made electronically with the wealth office. And the person actually took a picture of her last payment ever and she was still going to the post office.
Oh, wow.
So it was such a fun win. And getting to know, that people want people. They want to be able to connect, if it's possible, over Teams and best in person. And it really drives the narrative of a lot of firms are so compliance driven. Yeah. It's almost volume based. We want to be quality based and relationship based in our approach.
It's, people think of accounting firms and the accountants as number crunchers, and we're in the spreadsheets, which we are.
Correct.
But, it's a people business. It truly is. And developing those strong relationships is such an overlooked and maybe we'll call it like a misconception of the accounting world. When they only talk to their client once a year right before they file a return, it creates so much unnecessary stress on the client. They don't know if it's actually going to get done. They need to worry about finding another person to do it last second.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, it's done last second work and things get missed.
Right.
How often do you guys talk to your clients throughout the year? How often are you checking in with your clients, maybe either from the smallest, maybe a single taxpayer, all the way up to some of the larger businesses you work with?
Yeah. So the range, our bread and butter is quarterly. But because we have broken down that barriers to interest with our model, if a client calls, and I joke, you can send a signal flare, a text message, a phone call, or a carrier pigeon. We don't really care how you communicate, but we'll help you get that answer in an expeditious way. But as far as the planned meetings, we like to do it at least quarterly. Now we can meet semi-annually or annually, but our bread and butter is at quarterly. That gets us in front because those tax plans and strategies, they don't happen without intention. And I'm not anticipating that my clients walk around thinking about taxes the way that we do.
Yeah.
So I try to take that away from them. And then we can make sure, hey, did you make those 529 plan contributions? Hey, did you make sure to update your benefits for your employees if it's a small business? Did you pay your estimated taxes? Oh, okay, well, let me walk you through how to pay them electronically so it doesn't slow you down. So those, the touch points, I think, are key, and what the actual clients, majority of them, really want and need.
Yeah, and those touch points create opportunities too. They talk about maybe what they're struggling with in their business, or what's been time consuming, or they have no idea that there's an opportunity or incentive available for their investments. So those also are a great way to continue to help grow your business on that aspect.
And to your point too is, as we've prospect, clients, we've talked to them, and it's slowing down and asking them, like, especially for small business clients, what are the nuts and bolts of your business? If it's an individual, what are your goals, both short-term and long-term? And in those conversations, that's where the true value add. And I remember the first time that you did a proposal with me, you showed how your fee was going to be a multiple of the actual cash return. So you were a profit center. And that's really what we strive to be as well.
Yeah. So, we love being on the side of the fence where we're saving people money. It's an easy sell. It always is.
Well, and it makes me look like a rock star for introducing you and saying, hey, I got a guy. Come on, let's bring Craig in.
Exactly. And being able to tag team and support clients in that way and save them money is just, it's always so satisfying to see how you're able to help businesses and grow their businesses. As you guys are meeting with your clients quarterly, 2025, we'll call it, is a strange year. We had a lot happen this year,
to say the least.
Yeah. And, quarterly planning was so important this year, just because with the the tax law that happened that no one knew when it was going to happen.
Right.
There were so many rumors that it was going to be the beginning of the year, then the middle of the year, or it was going to be the end of the year. Luckily, it ended up being in July. But, if you weren't able to have those planning meetings, say, hey, here's what's on the horizon, here's what you should start thinking about, it'd be a real mess right now. So just because in 25, there's just a lot of stuff phasing out and or continuing on that you need to plan for.
Right.
Maybe what are a couple of things that clients should be aware of with the new tax bill they should really just be thinking about or planning for?
So on the individual side, there was a sprint for estate planning just from a high level because the cliff was about to revert back to lower exemptions. That's back up, stabilized. So that has created a little bit more of a runway, which is great. The other part for more individual focused is don't rely on safe harbor this year. It's a good tool depending on the situation, but we had a number of new clients that were on safe harbor from their prior CPA that we said, hold on, you don't even have to pay in September because of the tax law changes. So they were about to give an interest-free loan to the government for no reason. So we want to pay the bare minimum as required by law and no more, no less. We don't want to be subject to penalties and interest. We don't want to give a tax-free loan to the government. So understanding the changes and not only what's changed, but what didn't change. The new SALT limitations, that was going to play a huge impact on a lot of our families, just because it was taking, depending on your AGI, 10,000 all the way up to 40,000. So that increase the deduction could be huge. We've also talked to a lot of our families about charitable giving and stacking donations this year using what we call the dry powder approach, which is taking appreciated stock and gifting those into a donor advised fund, and then using the cash you would have to reinvest in those positions, and you get a step up in basis, and it's tax free, and you get a deduction, so it's a triple net.
It's a win-win-win.
Right. So, and those are always fun conversations like that. That really is one of the more exciting things, is when I can encourage and watch someone that has earned their money, they've worked hard, and then they get to be charitably inclined because they're so blessed. That is a really cool feeling.
100%. So, and then on the business side, is there anything in particular you guys have been having a lot of conversations around or advising a lot on?
Yeah. So, and I do go back to a lot of our prospect calls because, we're in growth mode. And a lot of the small business owners, as I've talked to them, if they're new, they didn't even know that the new tax bill had been passed. So their prior CPA has not communicated anything. Maybe they haven't even done the research to see the impacts. So in your wheelhouse, we like to talk about depreciation and then the R&D side. So those are two items that are paramount because, as you know, the 100% bonus depreciation is back on the table. So when it makes sense for a business to invest in fixed assets, especially towards the tail end of the year, if they can connect that, if there is a financing availability to where they're not coming cash out of pocket, they can save a substantial amount of tax dollars, especially in that last part of the year. And then the R&D, there's planning around, depending on the size of the business, when they can accelerate those prior capitalized R&D costs. And then the other part is, and this is something that's low-hanging fruit, but pass-through entity tax. With flow-through entities, hopefully that gets edited out. But so a little tongue-tied. But so what we've noticed is a lot of people get put on autopilot. And, we had a company that year over year has been growing. And we did the math. Last year, they didn't pay until January on their fourth quarter, right? And we did the math. They kicked a $10,000 tax savings a full calendar year for no reason. Their prior CPA could have picked up the phone and said, hey, make your PTE tax payment in this calendar year to get the federal deduction. And it would have prevented that 12-month delay for that benefit.
Yeah, and it goes exactly back to the conversation we're having about being compliance driven and not thinking about the advisory aspect, that there's just no time for it. Right?
Yeah.
I guess tell me a little bit about what you guys are doing to make sure that doesn't happen. How are you guys able to go find and retain top talent? It's so important right now, right? It's such a hard aspect in our industry.
Yeah. Well, this is what I people. That's what I say that all the time.
Not you.
Chief people officer, right? So one of my things that I love to do, and Steve and I have really done a good job of getting in the community, getting in our network. So we've almost doubled our size in this past calendar year. And it is a testament to what we're we are bringing to the market. We're getting involved with local universities, We had 65 applicants for 5 spots for our emerging advisor, which is our internship program. And then we've also gone back out into our network of people that may have left public accounting for random reasons, obvious reasons, because they're burned out. They didn't like the hours. There's no work-life balance. And we've reimagined it. We call it life-work harmony instead of life or work-life balance, because work came first. And our entire goal is to be so intentional about these touch points with clients that we can push work out throughout the year to where the traditional busy season, that's not near as stressful because we already know what the results are.
Right.
So that's putting pen to paper and getting the returns filed. So that's not the stressful part. We're not, we're doing it piece by piece throughout the year. And then getting out and talking to people that, are in the, major firms and say, hey, would you like a better lifestyle? We can bring this really high caliber level of talent into a very tight ship and aim it directly at a client to where they get this absolute world-class service and product. And our team feels like they're actually making an impact and they're not just a cog in a wheel.
Right. It's clearly working. I've met some of the new members you guys have brought on board, and just fantastic people, very technical, but also very personable, and they care. They care a lot about what's being brought to the client. It's amazing to see, and excited for your guys' new office to get open. So we're actually in the lobby of our building right now, getting this done.
Welcome.
So, right. So that's in January, right? And you guys have the grand opening.
So it'll be January 22nd. It's going to be a grand opening. We're going to be hosting quite a few people throughout the day. Super excited. It's going to allow us to triple our capacity. And that is just going to be monumental in our growth plan. And understanding that, we're going to have access to this atrium that we're filming in now. We've talked to a lot of our partners, and these are business partners. These are not-for-profits. And we've noticed that a lot of folks, they don't have affordable opportunities for space. So we're going to be partnering with a lot of not-for-profits and other organizations to provide them some, access to very affordable, hosting opportunities.
I love it. Yeah, the atrium is fantastic. It's very peaceful. We have the fountains everywhere and the nice music going. But then we just walk through your guys' space with it's the open concept, which I love. The social hub looks fantastic. And then the area just right outside at the host. So I'm really excited for you guys. It's cool to really see your growth on your firm's growth and how you guys have been able to serve clients. It's really exciting to work with you. So, for all of our clients out there, if you guys are looking for some white glove service, the people who are really going to care about you and grow with you and make sure you keep that hard work or hard earned money for your hard work, check out Owens May. So, Owen, thanks for coming on today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Craig. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course.